Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Wavelink Info-Byte session. My name is Rio, and on behalf of Wavelink, I would like to thank you for organizing time out of your day to attend our very last Info-Byte session of the year about FortiCloud's asset and hardware lifecycle management. Today, we are joined by Wavelink's very own Kieran O'Brien. Please feel free to grab a drink and some snacks to accompany you for the rest of the session. We launched our new Wavelink Fortinet Fabric Ready portal, and we'll be giving away reward points to the highly engaged attendees that will be contacted shortly after the session. We are also giving everyone here 15 reward points for attending a substantial amount of the session. So please make sure to register for our Fabric Ready portal. These points can be spent in our reward shop or cashed out. I will now pass it over to Kieran to commence with today's session.
Thank you so much, Rio. Welcome, everyone. As Rio said, this is our last Info-Byte for the year, unfortunately, before we wind down for the Christmas time and start to spend time with the families and have a little bit of a debrief before we come back for a really busy 2023. Throughout the session, if you have any questions, feel free to put a question in the questions section. We'll do our best to try and answer the questions as we go. So Ria, if you find any questions that are quite important, feel free to just stop me and ask the question during the presentation. Otherwise, we have a Q&A section right at the end, just after we go through the new Fortinet service activation announcements. So if there's any that weren't answered during the presentation, then we'll go through and try and answer them the best that we can through the Q&A section. Of course, anything that we don't get answered through today, we'll pass across to myself and the pre-sales team, and we'll do our best to get back to you on anything that you do have outstanding. So today, it's a focus on the asset management portal in FortiCloud. We'll have a look at some of the new features. There's three main new features. One of them is really quite interesting around remote access to devices. We'll have a look at some views that you can go through, such as looking at the hardware and software lifecycle. We can sort products by their actual location if the location is entered, and then we can have a look at things like your decommissioned units, why you would want to decommission the units once you've finished with the units. Have a look at the trade up program that's available, and the FortiCloud asset management portal will actually tell you if your device is eligible for the trade up program, and it's certainly something that you definitely want to have a discussion with your customers about, is utilizing this trade up program. And then, as I said, we'll do a quick review of the new service activation policy that's been announced by Fortinet that'll come into effect in January 2023. A little bit about Wavelink, just in case any of you that have joined don't have much interaction with Wavelink in the past. We were established back in 1998 with the idea of bringing in key vendors that sort of complemented themselves and working really hard to create a solution that our partners can push to market and that it's successful and usable to the Australian market. We were a Maru Networks distributor since 2008, and anyone that's not familiar with the name Maru, they were a wireless product provider. And since then, Fortinet actually acquired Maru in order to bolster up their wireless solution, and that was our sort of introduction to Fortinet. And ever since then, we've been working really, really hard with Fortinet and with our partners to try and grow not just the understanding of the solution, but being able to support the solution in terms of sale and technical as well. We have a whole bunch of solutions that we can provide to partners. We have a professional services program that includes staging, rollout, installation services, and we've got some really good exclusive incentive programs that we run exclusively for our partners. If you want any details around exactly what those programs are, our lovely marketing team are the definite go-tos there. But if you also want to reach out to me and I can introduce you to them, absolutely not a problem as well. With that, we'll jump into the content for today. So what just before we jump into sort of all the views and that we can generate, what is the FortiCloud Asset Management for those that actually haven't utilized the portal just yet? So the FortiCloud Asset Management portal is an easy to use portal to not only register, but organize and view all of your Fortinet products, services, and solutions within the FortiCloud portal. And any new products, licenses, or contracts that are purchased, these must be registered and managed within this asset management portal. Registered products are displayed in the product list view, which we'll see in a second. And through that product list view, you can sort of customize and bring out information that is relevant to you and to your customers. And then you can also go through and create customizable folder structures. They call these the My Asset section, where you can go through and you can put products or services and organize them within a hierarchical folder structure so that it makes sense to you instead of just having 30, 40, or 100 products just scattered on a single page. There's all sorts of additional views in here that we will look at, like the account service menu, which lists products, contracts, and licenses that are applicable on account level. Let's say the account has a FortiCloud premium contract, and that sort of stuff is sort of hidden within its own little section. So we'll go through that and have a look at it. There are some new things in the latest version of the FortiCloud Asset Management portal, and one of them is the ability to do remote management for FortiAnalyzer, FortiProxy, and FortiWeb. So essentially what you do is you click into the product in the FortiCloud Asset portal, and if you've enabled the connection for remote access to those products, if you scroll down to the Managed Cloud Services section and you click Remote Access, it will actually tunnel you into the graphical user interface of that product from the FortiCloud portal. And this makes remote management so much easier because no longer do you have to have some sort of network-defined remote access to the GUI or CLI of the products. You can now, utilizing the native connection from the FortiAnalyzer, FortiProxy, FortiWeb to FortiCloud, you can use that to actually tunnel the GUI through FortiCloud, and it's really seamless. When we go through our demonstration, I'll actually demonstrate this on a FortiAnalyzer that I have set up just over next to me. There's also a new account permission model. Basically what they have updated is a multi-dimensional permission model, which provides a lot more fine-grained control and makes it a lot easier to go through and set permissions on a per user and per role basis. It comes with two main design factors, and that is permission profile, permission scope. Permission profile essentially defines the enabled portals and the access permissions within those portals to be assigned to a user. So instead of assigning portal permissions directly to the user when you're creating the user in the portal, or if you're using an external LDAP role, the user is assigned a permission profile, and then the permission profile defines exactly what they can and can't access. Permission scope, on the other hand, defines the scope of access within the account itself, and management of the account is dependent on the available scope as seen through the assigned asset folder organizational unit account. So this is just, again, sort of defining the scope of access from within the account itself. And you can see here on the right-hand side of the screen where I've got a little picture, this is going through and creating a permission profile. Oops, sorry. And you can see here, you can go through and you can add parts of your FortiCloud profile that you would like that account or that profile to have access to. And you can go through, you can allow or de-allow access and also provide exactly what permissions you would like on a per portal basis. There's also organization support. What this is a centralized account management service that consolidates multiple FortiCloud accounts into organization units. The service provides essentially a single pane of visibility across multiple FortiCloud accounts to manage assets and cloud services, inviting accounts and hierarchical account grouping, and access roles for user permissions, essentially allowing you to go through and manage multiple FortiCloud accounts from within a single organization unit. They're the three main enhancements that have come to the latest version of FortiCloud, which is accessible for all FortiCloud users. And over time, they're adding more and more features. Just recently, they released a .A revision update, which brought a couple of small little things to FortiCloud, but nothing that I thought would be pertinent for today's Info-Byte. So within the FortiCloud portal, the main idea is you go through and you have a look at, in terms of asset management, your product list. And in here in the product list, it will display the devices registered to your account. And you can go through and you can sort by column filters, and you can use this to sort of refine down the list or create custom views to display only the columns that you would like to see. Once you've gone through and you've sort of culled it down, or if you want to view the whole thing, you can also go through and export it out to an Excel if you wanted to, and that allows you to share your asset list externally. It also potentially gives you like a form of backup of your asset list. And as you can see here in the screenshot, we've got the serial numbers, the product models, the descriptions. It even tells you your days to expiration for the current coverage that's on the device. And when the device was registered, you can go through and you can hide those, or bring them back and customize that to however you would like. Clicking on one of the products within there will take you to the product view page. And within here, there's a whole bunch of additional information specific to that exact product. And that information is displayed to you through widgets. And some of those widgets are, we've got general product information, which you can see here in the top, which goes through things like the serial number, the product name, if you've given it a name that sort of makes sense to you, the date it was registered, the type of warranty that it has, and any sort of information around the partner that the product was actually purchased from. You also go through and you can have a look at the license entitlement. So that shows you the licenses that are applied to the device when they were registered, when they expire, and exactly what the licenses are. You can go through and have a look at any support tickets that you actually have assigned to the device. In this screenshot, this product has no support tickets, but if we actually created a support ticket with Fortinet using the serial number of this product, it would actually pop up there in the tickets field, allowing us to easily understand exactly what tickets we had open and currently have open for that particular product. And there's a whole bunch of additional things in here, like you can go through and add contracts to a device. You can do an RMA transfer if you needed to RMA. If you had RMA'd the product and need to transfer the support across to the RMA'd unit. And then you can also decommission the unit, which we'll touch on a little bit later in the presentation. The final thing here really is the managed cloud services. And this goes through and it shows you what cloud services that you have registered against the unit, and if you actually have them tied into the service. Like for example, if this was a FortiGate and I had FortiGate Cloud registered to the unit, if I click that FortiGate Cloud button, it will take me to FortiGate Cloud for that particular device. So it allows, again, for easy tie-in to the rest of the product stack. Another really good feature within the asset management portal is the ability to sort your products by the My Assets field. And this lets you go through and create a folder structure that makes sense to your organization to go through and put the products within. As an example here, I've got Azure, which is cloud, New South Wales, which is our headquarter, and Victoria, which is a branch. This is just a demonstration purposes. I went through and actually sorted out and put all of the products applicable for each of those locations within each of those folders. And when we go through the demo, you'll see exactly how I've done this. And this just makes it so much easier to understand where the assets are. And if I wanted to do an audit on the assets in a particular location, this allows me to very easily do that because I've got it all sorted within folders and subfolders. And you can go through and create as many folders and subfolders as you would like that makes sense to you. So for example, if you had an office location in New South Wales that had multiple stories, you could actually break down each of the stories and create a folder for like level 1, level 2, level 3 if you wanted to. Otherwise, you can just create a single folder for that location and put them in there. This isn't the only way to sort by location. It just can potentially make your day a lot easier, and you don't have to sort by location. This is fully customizable, by you. It's just a way to organize within a folder structure. Now, one of the other available main views is the account services list. And this list, or this page, lists all the products, contracts, and services that are applicable to the FortiCloud account, such as the FortiCloud Premium Account license and whether the account has a Fortinet Developer Network license applied to it. So you can see here in the example, there's quite a few licenses that you can apply to an account level, and in this page it will show you all the licenses that are applied to that FortiCloud account. Same with the product page. If you then click into one of those serial numbers or one of those products, it will give you a lot more further detail around when it was registered, exactly what the license entails, and when it will expire. Then if you go through and you click the More Views section, you'll get a whole list of additional really important views that you can go through, and it allows you to really easily manage your products. And one of those views is the trade-ups page. And the Fortinet trade-ups page essentially allows you to view any of the products that you have registered against your account that are eligible for Fortinet's trade-up program. And essentially the trade-up program is a way of allowing you to access the latest Fortinet products and services utilizing their trade-up program. So essentially what you do is you would trade in your old Fortinet product for a new one. Now, the great thing about Fortinet's trade-up program is that you actually don't need to return your old products. They would just no longer be eligible for RMA services, renewals, or any additional trade-up program. So you get to keep that old hardware. You just decommission it yourself, and if you wanted to have it recycled or something, you can do that. But then you get a new, upgraded model sent to you, and it's done at a reduced price as well. If you'd like any further details around the trade-up program, please reach out to our sales team or your account manager, and they can let you know, a lot more further details around what the process is to request one, what info we need, and what that pricing structure looks like. Another really good thing that you can do is you can view products by their hardware and their software lifecycle. So if you go to hardware lifecycle, it will list and group all of your products by the hardware model type. So you can see here on the screen, it's listed in a couple of products that we've got registered this account, and it's bundled them by the exact product. So we've got two FortiCam FD50s and two FortiGate 60Fs, and it's bundled them all together. And you can see it provides a little bit more information around the days till it currently expires and the date it was registered. This just allows me to go through and look at all my assets and group them by their model, and to get further information around them. On the flip side, you can also do it by software as well. So you can see here on the right-hand side of the screen, it's grouped by the actual software version of the products. So I've got one product that's FortiAnalyzer 7.0. I've also got another product that's FortiAnalyzer 7.2. And then I've got a couple of products, FortiOS 6.0, 6.2, and 7.2, and a Forti recorder in there as well. So I can find out what the software version is of my hardware and go through and view it via that. You can also go through and have a look at your products by the location that you've assigned to them. Now, when you're registering a product, it's not mandatory that you register a location to that product, but I would suggest that you go through after registering your product and do assign a location to it. It just makes management, especially when you're trying to find things by location, so much easier because it brings products up into this view itself. And in here, it will list out all of the devices in your FortiCloud account and allow you to search, but also filter by an address. So you can filter on the city, the state, the country, the postcode, the model it is, the serial numbers if you wanted to. Like if you knew you wanted to search for something with a wildcard serial number, you can do that. And you can also filter by the exact address as well. And it will show you all the assets that match the filters that you're looking for. And same with the product list page. Once you've filtered it through, you can download that. And if you wanted to share that externally, you can. Another really good view in here is the viewing vulnerable units page. When you have at least one vulnerable unit registered against your FortiCloud account, it is listed under the FortiGate vulnerability list. If you have no products that are vulnerable, this list won't, or this view won't pop up at all. And this goes through and essentially lists all of the units that have known vulnerabilities and also the critical vulnerabilities that are applicable for the actual product. So we can see here in the example, we've got a FortiGate 40C, which is quite an old unit. And right now, as of when this screenshot was taken, there's 3 main critical vulnerabilities that apply to that particular unit. And if I actually clicked on the underlined blue hyperlinks within the vulnerabilities, it would actually take me to a page that goes through and explains a lot of detail around exactly what those vulnerabilities are. So utilizing this information, I could go and figure out how I would go around and resolve that vulnerability from appearing. And it might just be that unfortunately, that product is no longer supported, and you might want to have a look at using the trade-up program or just purchasing a new Fortinet product to try and replace that vulnerable unit. Another really important part of the portal is going through and actually deregistering or decommissioning your units once they're no longer for use. You can decommission units and your assets portal essentially by moving them from your product list or your sort of commissioned units into the decommissioning units a couple of ways. You can click into the product itself, like we showed before, and click that decommissioned tab. Or if you go to the decommissioned unit page, you can actually click add new, enter in the serial number, and it will decommission the unit that way. When you decommission a product, it will be removed from all FortiCloud services and the data behind it will be deleted from those services. For example, if your FortiGate device that you're decommissioning was currently in FortiGate Cloud, then when you decommission a unit, it will automatically remove the data within FortiGate Cloud and it will be moved into this decommissioned list page. Before you do the decommission though, it will give you a warn-up message just saying, hey, it will remove this from any other additional services just to make sure you're not accidentally decommissioning a unit that you're not supposed to be. Once the hardware device is moved into your decommissioned units list, you can then deregister the unit and purge it completely from your account if you needed to, if you no longer had that piece of hardware. Or if you've accidentally decommissioned the unit, you can recommission it back to your assets by clicking this little, it looks like a little recycling bin with a backwards arrow that just puts it back into your asset list and puts it back into a recommissioned state. You can also go through and view any of your expired products, and this will list, any hardware devices or VM or anything that you've got where your current support contract is expired. And we can see here on the example that I've got, there's a Forti Wi-Fi 60E DSL that doesn't have any support registered to it because it's expired and registered was back in 2020. So I could go through, and if I knew that product was still actually being utilized, I would probably want to reach out to Wavelink and say, hey, I've got this unit here, there's no license applied against it, can I please get a renewal for the license on that? Just gives you a really easy way to look just specifically at anything that's expired. Other than that, I think we'll jump into the demonstration now for today. So let me bring this in. So when you first sign into FortiCloud, you are automatically put into the asset management portal. And this is what the dashboard looks like when you sign in. Now, in this account that I've signed into, which is my personal account, I don't have too many products. I've only got 18 products in total, but it gives me a nice breakdown of exactly what the products are that I've got within my account. So I can see I've got 7 FortiGates, 2 analyzers, 2 FortiCams, and seven other additional products. And if I actually click on that, it will take me directly to the products list so I can have a look at exactly what those products are. We'll quickly go back to the dashboard. Further down to that, there's a couple of widgets that just give you additional information from a glance, such as your support and subscriptions, anything that's expiring within 90, 60, or 30 days, anything that is totally expired, some things that have no coverage at all. So I've got 4 devices that just never had support purchased for them. And other than that, I've got 13 devices which are currently subscribed, or currently have licenses against them, which aren't expiring within 90 days. So they're all good. I can also see here in terms of hardware lifecycle, everything that I've got is A-OK. It's all, recent hardware. There's nothing that's really, really old hardware. And in terms of software, I've got 9 operating systems detected that are currently supported and okay. And I've actually got 1 which is end of support. And if I click on that, it actually shows me that this version of FortiOS was end of engineering support on this particular date and end of support in general on that particular date. And it provides me the serial number of exactly what that product is. This just happens to be a FortiGate Rugged 90D, and I can then go and through my management portal, go and update the operating system that's on that. Other than that, you can scroll down, you get additional more views or links into views that you want to. And at the top of the page here is where you go and you register new products. Other than that, that's the sort of dashboard done. It's like I said, it's a lot of useful information from a glance. On the left-hand side is where we go through and we actually have a look at the product lists and go through the additional views. So products list, as I said, it's listing all of your products. You can go through and search for things. You can filter down. You can sort by any of these fields up here. So if I wanted to, I could sort by days to expiration. And you can see here, it's now sorting by the amount of days to expiration for licenses. This view can be a little bit chaotic if you've got a lot of devices. So my recommendation is to try and go through and sort your devices in the My Assets section. And as we saw before, I've got 3 folders within here, and I've sorted out to products that I've got in Azure, in New South Wales and Victoria, but you can go through and you can customize that to however you would like. If you go right of the My Assets, there's a little cogwheel that shows up, and in here is where you get to go in and you add a new folder. So I could call one test location, oops, add, and now I've got a folder for all of my test location devices. Currently there's nothing in there, but I can go ahead and let's say maybe I want to take something from Azure. I might take my FortiGate VMO1, maybe that's not actually in Azure, it's in this test location. If I select it and then go move, I can choose exactly where I would like that device to be moved to. And now it's moved from my Azure folder into my test location folder. So it just allows you to very easily go through and sort out exactly where your devices are. And you can sort it by and folder them exactly however you would like. And you can go ahead and you can create a subfolder within those locations. So you might do level 1 and then level 2. You can go so forth and make as many as you would like. So definitely use this, especially if you have a lot of assets. And be creative with how you do it. It's only, this folder structure is only going to be as good as you design it to be. Below that is the more views section. By default, it is sort of bundled up. So just click it and it'll expand out to show you all of the additional views. And in here is where we get those additional views that I was talking about, like the expired view. So I can see here, this model here, currently the licenses assigned to it have expired. So I could click in. It'll take me to that product page, and I can see here that all of these entitlements or these licenses are showing as orange triangle, which is not good. And if I click in, I actually show the contract itself, I can see all of the licenses that are applied to the device, when they were activated and when they expired. So the licenses on these, majority of them expired on the 31st of the 10th, 2022. So not too long ago. Should probably look at getting that renewed. The trade-ups, unfortunately, I don't have any models in here that are eligible for trade-up, but if your account did have devices that are eligible for trade-up, it will show you exactly what the serial numbers are and what the trade-up path is be. So it could be, for example, a FortiGate 40C would be upgraded to a FortiGate 40F, and it will show you exactly what that upgrade path is. And then all you would need to do is reach out to a distributor like us, and we will go through and provide you a quote for the trade-up program. Additional views here, like the hardware lifecycle we went through. Again, you can go through and it will sort it by all of the hardware models that you have. So I can have a look at all my FortiGate rugged 90Ds, and I can go through and then sort through, days to expire, when it was registered, go through and modify and sort by exactly what details you would like. So it's providing additional views. Hardware warranty is a pretty good page. It will go through and it will list through for each model of device exactly what the hardware warranties are that you have against the device. Most of the time, this is sort of used to find if you have any that currently aren't supported. Luckily, all of mine in here are demoed, so they're okay. But if you sort by something like the end date, I can see here there's a whole bunch of hardware that, even though it was coming through as a Fortinet gift or a demo, currently actually expired. So on a normal account, these would actually show up a little bit differently to the way my account does. But you can go through, sort by the end dates for when they are, when the hardware is expired, and go through, and maybe you want to go through and renew that support. Another view is the product location that we went over. So in here, you can sort by the addresses. You can go through and actually, if you don't want to view all of these, maybe you're not interested in the actual address itself or the address name, description, product model. Maybe you only want the serial numbers, the city, the state, and the postcode. Well, now we're only looking at those fields, and I can then go in here and sort additionally by these. Maybe I want to sort it by the state. So all of New South Wales is now next to each other, and all of Victoria is now next to each other. And I can go ahead and export this out, and I can potentially share that to, maybe the customer or anyone else that needs a copy of the location of the devices. Now, the details in here, like I said before, it will only show products in here if you enter in the actual location of the devices to the device. What I mean by that is if we jump into this FortiGate 60F, which takes us to the product page, if I scroll down, you can see that there's a location field. By default, this isn't filled out. It's not a requirement when you register a device, but I do recommend that post registering a device, you go into the product like this and you edit the location and actually fill in the location of the device. It just makes it so much easier when you're going through and you're finding assets, and allows you to sort by the actual location of the device. And when you go through and you create locations, you can actually save the locations for future use. So if you've registered a location once, next time you need to add that location to a device, you just need to select it from the drop-down menu. Makes it so much easier instead of having to fill out that contact details and the address details each time. You can just save it for future use. And then once you've got that location information in there, your products will then fill through to this product location page, and you can start using that data to actually, filter on. Final thing I want to look at is this decommissioned units page. So you can see in here, I've currently got one product in here that is decommissioned. This product I no longer use. It doesn't receive the latest versions of FortiOS, so I no longer use it within my environment. So I've decommissioned it because it's no longer in use. And if I accidentally did that, all I would need to do is come along here and select Move Product Back to the product list, and that will bring it back from a decommissioned state to a recommissioned state. If I no longer use that product at all, maybe I sent it to the bin and it's no longer exists, I could deregister that unit completely from my account, and it will remove that existence completely from my account. It could also be that potentially the item has been sold. You will also then, if you've sold the item, deregister the unit from the FortiCloud account, and it will remove it completely from the FortiCloud account. There are two ways, like I said before, to put a device into decommission. You can come to this decommissioned unit page, click Add New, and then select in enter in the serial numbers of all the devices that are now decommissioned, and click Add. Or if you go back to one of the products, we might go to Victoria. Maybe this FortiGate 60F is no longer being used. I'll jump into that. And if I scroll down, a little bit too far, to the registration page and click decommission this unit, I can decommission it from this page as well. So whatever works for you is, you got the two ways of decommissioning a unit as well. Now, one last thing I wanted to show in here is that new way to remotely access products from within the FortiCloud account. And like I said, there's 3 additional products that have been added to this, which was the FortiAnalyzer, it was the FortiProxy, and the FortiWeb. So if I go to a FortiAnalyzer that has this set up, which is this FortiAnalyzer just here, it gives me a little bit of details around exactly what the device is. It's currently licensed for 6 GB a day. It will expire at the end of 2023. That's all cool. But if I click remote access here, sorry, let me close. I had it opened in the background, so let me close that. So what it's doing is it's actually tunneling me into the graphical user interface of the device from FortiCloud. You can see here the URL isn't actually the IP address of the FortiAnalyzer itself. The IP address is 192.168.4.6 from memory. It's actually proxying using FortiCloud services access to the device. So I can just sign in as if I was connected directly to that device. And it makes remote administration so much easier for your team. This one is on a little NUC that's running a whole bunch of stuff, so it's a little bit slow, but just to give you the idea, I'll sign in and see it actually signs me in. Come on, little NUC, you can do it. Oh no, I think it's having performance anxieties. There we go. Perfect. So now I'm signed in, remotely using FortiCloud as a proxy to my FortiAnalyzer. And just to show you, this is 192.168.4.6. So, it actually is proxying directly to the FortiAnalyzer for me. So that's a really cool new service. And I expect that with newer and newer releases, or when they update FortiCloud with newer versions, they'll bring this functionality to more and more devices. Now let me jump back to the slide. So that covers it for the demo. I'll quickly jump across and discuss a way to get further details if you have any requests for further details. If you go to docs.fortinet.com and go to the FortiCloud account services page, there's where you will find all the relevant documentation for what we've gone through today. So there's details around the latest release notes for the updates. Sometimes the interface will change slightly. They would document all of that in a document called user interface changes for you. There's a whole bunch of documentation around account onboarding, how to go through and do identity and account management. So how to effectively add counts to your tenancy, how to go through and do asset management for your customers as a partner, and how to do asset groups, and also some advanced services that are applicable within the FortiCloud account services page. Now, there is a big announcement from Fortinet that I thought, while we're on the topic of the asset management, we might quickly run over just in case you aren't aware of it. Effective January the 1st, 2023, Fortinet will change the FortiCare support and FortiGuard subscription contract activation. Essentially, what is happening is all new FortiCare support contracts and all new FortiGuard subscription contracts and licenses will automatically start after 90 days in the APAC region. Obviously, unless these contracts aren't registered prior to the 90 days, and if the contracts aren't perpetual licenses. So perpetual licenses stuff aren't affected. They will forever be perpetual. It's just your standard new FortiCare support and new FortiGuard subscription licenses. This new policy will apply irrespective of whether the contracts were sold in a bundle with hardware or whether it was a license sold by itself. So it used to be that if you bought hardware with licenses bundled in, that it would have a different amount of activation time compared to a standalone license. That has all been simplified into just 90 days. So all new contracts, regardless of if they're bundles or not, will auto activate or auto start after a 90-day period. All these licenses, So that activation period starts from shipment of the licenses from Fortinet, irrespective of when products arrive at the partner or the end customer. So this hasn't changed. It's still the same policy in terms of the grace period starting from shipment from Fortinet, but I just thought I would point that out to you. It is from when the licenses are shipped from Fortinet. And of course, here at Wavelink, we do our best to get those licenses to you as soon as we receive them from Fortinet. These new terms are not retroactive and will not be applied to existing contracts sold before January the 1st, 2023. So this new policy does not override any signed bespoke agreements, and it does not backdate to any licenses sold before January the 1st, 2023, only licenses sold after January the 1st, 2023. And across the next slide, I've got a little bit of a summary breakdown for you if you needed to. There's a lot more further information on the Fortinet Partner Portal. If you'd like to go through and read through that, there's a little bit of a Q&A section as well at the bottom of the documentation in the FortiCloud account portal. In the Fortinet Partner Portal. But if you'd like any further clarification, please feel free to reach out to us as well. More than happy, the sales team are across it, and we're more than happy to run through with you exactly what that upgrade or that update to their services looks like. Otherwise, Rio, if you're there, if you don't mind reading out some questions and answers, or questions, please.
Yeah, for sure. So first question, does remote management conflict with FortiManager, and can you have both?
Absolutely. So it depends on how you're managing the devices. So if you're doing all your policy management from FortiManagement, your device settings from FortiManager, and you don't want direct access to the devices, you probably don't want to utilize this functionality, or you might want to set it up only as potentially a backup way to accessing the graphical user interface of the FortiGate devices. You probably still want to do your remote management through FortiManager. If you're doing a more of a hybrid type management where you're doing device configuration directly from the graphical user interface of the FortiGates themselves, but the policy configuration from FortiManager, then you could definitely utilize this functionality if you wanted to.
Sweet. Does the decommission remove the configuration from the device?
Not from the device. It only removes any data held within FortiCloud services, whether that's FortiGate Cloud, FortiAnalyzer Cloud, FortiManager Cloud, any of that data that's in FortiCloud services, not any data that's actually on the device itself.
Awesome. Do you need FortiCloud Premium for the remote management feature?
No, not at all. So that feature is just a feature with FortiCloud. FortiCloud account asset management. You don't need an additional license for that.
Cool. And we'll just answer one more. Can alt MFA providers be used, i.e. MS Authenticator, to sign into the portal?
Great question. So there is the ability to use external account verification with FortiCloud account. I'm not overly familiar with exactly how that is set up. So what we'll do is I'll have our team look into exactly what is and isn't supported for that, and we'll get back to you with a little bit more detail around that. That's a really good question though. Are there any other ones while we're here? Perfect, Max. You'll be interested as well. What we might do with that is we might just shoot out to all attendees all of the information that we find around that, just in case anyone else here would like some details around that. Sweet. Perfect. I think that's all. And if you guys have any questions post the event, please feel free to reach out either to the pre-sales or to myself. Any way you can get in contact with us, please feel free. Otherwise, that's all we have for today. Thank you everyone so much for coming along. Hopefully you've got a lot of information out of this. And as I said, if you want any more details, please reach out. Otherwise, Rio, I'll hand it across to you to sign us out.
Awesome. Just to wrap up, thank you everyone for joining today's session and for attending our Info-Bytes the past year. Just another thank you to Kieran for putting this session together. And also, if you tune in a bit later, this session is recorded and will be uploaded in the following days. Wavelink will be partially closed for the holiday period between the 22nd of December to the 3rd of January. However, we will be still operating on a skeleton staff base during this time. Don't forget to join our Wavelink Fabric Ready portal by searching wavelinkfabricready.com.au and click on Join Now if you are our existing Fortinet partner. You will find information on Wavelink's and Fortinet's latest promotions and events such as Info-Bytes or our desired experiential events such as the upcoming 2023 Formula One AusGP, which the incentive is, we are finishing off the incentive this month. So if you want to check out the leaderboards, definitely do so through the Wavelink Fabric Ready portal. You can also claim sales and NSE certifications through the portal and ultimately earn reward points. For further information around the Fabric Ready portal, please email marketing@wavelink.com.au, or for any further inquiries about today's session, please contact presales@wavelink.com.au. We hope you have a Merry Christmas and also a Happy New Year. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.